how are you? I'm Professor Jessica. I'm happy to be here with you for this quick course overview for our 101 that we will be doing together this semester completely asynchronously. And if you want to see my face, I show it on some other videos. I just happen to not have it on here today. So, welcome to class. Super happy to be here with you this semester. We are going to make it a great one, even though we will not be meeting in any Zoom rooms. I have prepared a lot of videos covering all of the lectures for you. I'm available on email and discussion boards. And so I look forward to being here with you for the next 16 or so weeks as we learn about human resources and organizational behavior. So, welcome, welcome. I found this picture. I think it's Iceland. I've been to Iceland. Could be some other place. I am from Sweden, as you see here, right? Beautiful Sweden. So that could be Iceland or one of those snowy places. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself because we will not be in a classroom together. So this is me and my beautiful twin boys. I am a twin mom. That's probably my hardest job that I do. And you might hear them on some video. They're a little bit older than in this picture, but I thought that picture was adorable, so I kept that in. So definitely my first and my hardest job. I am from Sweden. This is the beautiful city of Stockholm right here. This is down here in this corner. This is the business school in Gothenburg, where I do get to teach still in their executive MBA program. And this is the beautiful library at the University of Gothenburg that I have been sitting and reading books. So even though I did not grow up in the United States, you could say I'm super Americanized. When I go back to Sweden and teach, they do call me the American professor, which is hilarious because clearly I have a big accent when I'm here in the US. And I'm not American American, although I've lived here almost half my life at this point. I have a lot of academic degrees. They're all from Arizona. I have a couple of bachelor's degrees in psychology, international business, and business management. I have a master's degree, and I also have a PhD. And so I come to you with all of that knowledge, but I also, because I'm slightly workaholic, or at least used to be, I also do consulting. And so I get off campus, I work with organizations to help them create leadership programs. I do coaching for managers and leaders on a continuous basis. And so I do bring that expertise or that knowledge. I don't know if it's an expertise, but that knowledge to the classroom as well. And I really thrive on serving people. That's what I enjoy doing. I am also first generation. So my father, who died when I was young, he was a farmer, right, working the fields. My mom is not educated, but blue collar worker. And so I shared that background with many of you. And so I know what it is going to college and how confusing it can be. I did that a long time ago. And somehow I managed to meander myself all the way up through a PhD. And so I know it can be done and it takes grit and persistence. But the pain and suffering that comes from going to school is temporary, and what you gain from it is permanent and lifelong. So, congratulations on being here. I really think education is very, very important. Congratulations for that. So, into the nitty gritty of what the class is. Firstly, registration. During the first 2 weeks of the class, the first 2 weeks of the semester, rather, the term, a student can drop or add any classes on MySAC State unless the instructor has placed a restriction. I have not placed a restriction on the class, so you are free to add it or to drop it if there is a seat available. Please do not initiate an form in OnBase for me to add the class without talking to me. I do not subscribe beyond the course cap, which is quite large. There is 55 students in each section, so I do not take on additional students beyond that. After 2 weeks, please send me an email. You have my email on the syllabus, on our Canvas learning management system, because you need to process that through our office. If you're not enrolled in a course with me, you should not be participating in any course assignments, any class meetings, any class activities. You need to be enrolled in the class to participate in it. We are using the Flat World Knowledge textbook, Principles of Management. You can choose whether you do an online, fully digital version, or you can choose to have them send you a book, right? So there is a price difference. There's going to cost a little bit more money to have them send you the book. You can choose, so for the digital version, you can have just an online access where you need to have Wi-Fi or data, or you can choose an variation of that where you can also download the textbook, and so you can use it without data, without Wi-Fi, right? Or you can have a hard copy, and when you get the hard copy book, then you will also have access to the online format of the book. You can choose whichever of the book you want. I have no preference. We are using the 4.0 version of the book. And so that will be the one that we are working from. But hard copy, digital, doesn't matter to me. And we will also be using the homework system that comes with the Flat World Knowledge platform. So on Canvas, you will see a link to the textbook where you can purchase it, and you will see a link to your homework. You need to register on the homework platform. Please use the email that is associated with the university. Please use the name that is either formally registered rather. Sometimes English gets me. Use the name that is registered with the university. If you go by a different name, please tell me so I can update my documents, right? So I can update my Excel. So when you go into Flat World, you take an assignment in a name that I don't have, right? You need to let me know that that's you, so I can give you credit for those assignments. Sometimes on the Flat World Knowledge, you will see an extra homework assignment or an extra exam. These typically have a specific student name attached to them. If that name is not your name, please do not take that exam. Sometimes we have variations for, legitimate reasons. And those students have been in contact with me to have those differential assignments for legitimate reasons. And so if your name is not Ashley and Ashley has an exam posted on homework, do not take Ashley's exam. And that first page you see in the homework system is not specific to you, right? So I can only post to a central page that shows all of the assignments. So you will see all of the assignments, even if some of them do not pertain to you. So that's just how Flat World works. And that's partly why they're so cheap. They're cheaper than other publishers, which is why I picked them. They have good content. They have a good price, but also they don't have all the bells and whistles we might like sometimes. So if there's any confusion around this, let me know. There's a frequently asked discussion board on Canvas, so make use of it so we can ask the question one time and I can answer it, and other students can also benefit from your question. So if you email me, I might tell you to go to the discussion board to post your question so we can answer it there. We are using Canvas. There's the syllabus and schedule. I'm asking you to read them within this first week so that you can ask me if you have any questions, or I'm going to assume that you're comfortable with the format that we are running this class. PowerPoint decks, recordings of lectures like this one, TED Talks, activities, assignments will be on Canvas. As I said, we are also using Flat World Knowledge. So you need to check both Flat World Knowledge as well as Canvas so that you can stay up to date on everything that we are doing in this class. So that is your responsibility to keep up with both of those. So for the class, each of the chapters will have videos with it. Lectures like this one, exactly what you're doing, will be posted on my YouTube. It's a platform where videos will stay. You know, when we have a platform with the university decides to go with a new vendor or a new contract, and we lose the videos essentially, or we have to migrate them between platforms. But when we use YouTube, they stay forever. And so I can create an archive of classes and add to it. So as you see, the class that you're taking is one of the classes. I have other classes, other courses on there, so feel free to listen to those lectures as well if you want to. I do use other TED Talks, other YouTube videos, etc., and they will be posted on your learning management system, and we'll access them through TED, YouTube, etc. Assignments and exam, as I've already mentioned, will be on flatworldknowledge.com. You need to register. Make sure you're registered before that starts. Next week we will have our first assignment. This week, no assignment. Exams will actually come from a couple of different places. So exam questions will come from the textbook. They will come from the PowerPoint slides that you have access to, and also from our online YouTube lecture. So it is important that you consume the material through the book, through the PowerPoints, through the lectures. Just listen to them while you fold the laundry or whatever, or sit down and take notes with the paper and pen. And then also we are doing, of course, occasionally, not all the time, but we will be doing some discussion boards. We're doing one this week where you are telling us a little bit about yourself. And also the frequently asked questions discussion board is there. And I will really use that one as our main place for clarifying things in this class rather than over email. Because again, multiple people can see it and participate in that conversation. So in terms of performance assessments, what are we going to be doing? Well, we will be having a few exams, midterms, as well as a final. The final exam will be during finals week, and you will have a couple of days to access it. You will not have a couple of days worth of minutes to take it, but a couple of days, about 2 days to access the final exam during finals week. That is to be determined, but typically that will run Monday through Wednesday of finals week. Every exam is available for 24 hours, except this one. Available online for this one. Actually, I'm going to change that and make this 48, because I think initially I was thinking that it should be 24, but like I just said, for the finals, we want to do it 2 days, so 48 hours, and I'm going to change that on the slide later. While the midterms are available for 24 hours. So essentially 6 a.m. during one day to 6 a.m. the next day. So you have them available to take during those 24 hours. Each exam that is a midterm is 40 points. The final exam is 80 points. We will also do assignments in addition to the exams. And for neither the assignments nor the exams are there study guides. As I said, the PowerPoint, the lectures, as well as the videos will be for you to take notes from. And the reason for that is that if I gave you a study guide with 10 topics instead of the 30 that we've covered, you're just going to study those 10. And the truth is that all 30 topics are important, right? So I want you to know all 30, and then I'm just going to sample your knowledge on the exam to see what came from that. Assignments and activities, we will do 8 of them, and there are 20 points each. They will be listed on the schedule on Canvas. We might also add some assessments if we're doing assessments for accreditation purposes, and you will be notified by me if that happens. If you ever miss any assignment or exam, and that is covered by the excused absence policy, the general course policies video that is attached to this week 1 tells you how to do that. So if you miss something, that is covered in the general policies video. So For our schedule, what I'll do is I'm going to schedule it a handful of weeks out. And I do this because sometimes life happens, or a pandemic happens, or something else happens, like fires here in California. And so what I've learned is that it's useful to schedule a handful of weeks out, take stock of where the course is at, if students are struggling, or if they're flying along, and then I know how to correct the structure of the schedule if I need to, or if there's some global event that we need to, pause for. Uh, Before I have scheduled the entire semester out, and invariably there is some changes that have to happen. So last semester I started scheduling just a handful of weeks out. It worked really well with both my undergrad and my MBA classes, and so I'm keeping that for this week. For this semester rather. So this week you're doing chapter 1. Make sure you watch the videos, you have the PowerPoints. You do not have an assignment this week apart from just going onto the discussion board, saying hi, this is me, and introducing yourself to the class. So multitasking is bad. You know this. You learn this scrolling through TikTok or YouTube or wherever you go, right? Screens are addictive. They change our brain structure. They rewire our neurons, and they're just really not that healthy for us. And so this study came out saying, just having the cell phone or your smartphone with you while taking an exam, even if your phone is face down on a different table, it actually reduces your brain power, so you get a worse result. So just keeping in mind, multitasking is never the solution. It never works. And so just try to focus when you are in the classroom or wherever you need to focus, and put that screen away. I am just as addicted as most of you are, and this is something I'm working on consciously as well. All right, so how are we going to be successful in this course? What I've found over the years is that a lot of students think that this course material is really common sense. And so they don't study, right? And in a moment, we're going to dive into exactly what this course will cover. But when you talk about things like HR and organizational behavior, and there's leadership, and there's team, and there's recruitment, and you think, wow, well, I've done those things. I've had a job. I've been on a team. I used to play soccer, whatever, right? And so you discount how tricky the material can be, because there are very specific theories, frameworks, concepts, and they have very detailed definitions with them, or process flows. And so you think you know the material while you don't, and so you don't study as much for it. And that's typically where I see the problem creeping in for students. It's just they don't prepare enough. So you need to make sure that you actually know the concept. So if I just ask you, what is self-efficacy, what is emotional intelligence, how do you differentiate between a team and a group, right? What are the differentiators? You should be able to tell me that without seeing the definitions in front of you. And so some rote learning needs to happen. You need to memorize certain things, and then the meaningful learning is the applications of that. So how do you apply it in your workplace? And so we are using assignments for you to have that meaningful learning, where you get to read about and participate in scenarios, etc. So you have to be able to recall and not simply recognize. Recall, not simply recognize. And do not underestimate the amount of time it takes to complete the assignments and prepare for the exams. Everything takes longer than we think it will, right? Okay, so human resources and organizational behavior. Human resources is the structural piece in an organization where we are putting together processes, policies, activities, where we design jobs, tasks, the organization, etc., so that we can get the behavior that we want, so we can get the attitudes, the communications that we want. So OB is the soft piece. HR predicts organizational behavior, and we'll cover both in this class. And so this class is really an overview of managerial and organizational theory and practice, including a discussion of the contingencies that influence an organization's effectiveness and efficiency. We focus on decision-making and problem-solving processes that will affect managerial performance, right? How good are you going to be as a boss, or how good is a boss or a CEO? And that comes down to planning, implementing, and controlling the work that employees do in contemporary organizations. So that's what this 101 course is about. The topics that we will cover in our chapters, and we may or may not cover all of these. Remember what I said, we're going to take pause in a couple of weeks and see how we're doing, and then we will move forward from there. So chapter 1 covers introduction to principles of management. Chapter 2 is all about the history. Where have we been and where are we going? What are the trends? And they also put in globalization and ethics together here. Now, chapter number 3 covers the person and their personality, attitudes, and behaviors. And then we move on to the organization. So chapter 4 is about the mission, vision, and values. Chapter 5 is about the strategic planning piece. So how does the organization plan to compete in the marketplace? Chapter 6 is about goals and objectives, which we need to have to make sure that we can compete and be successful. Chapter 7 deals with organizational structure and change. How can we put ourselves together so that we are effective? What is the best and most efficient structure for us? 8 is culture. 9 is leadership. 10 is decision making. 11 is communications. 12 is groups and teams. 13 is motivation. 14 is control. How do we control the work? And then 15 is HR from a strategic point of view. So with all of that, this is your welcome and this is your introduction to this course. If you have any questions, if there is some way I can help you, please head over to the frequently asked questions discussion board, post your question. If you as a student have the answer to somebody else's question, you can answer that. And I also will answer questions on this board. Welcome. It's a pleasure rather. See my English there. It's a pleasure having you in class. I hope you will enjoy it, and we will make through this asynchronous class of human resources and organizational behaviors. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.